big ticket item is the new public safety complex that's being talked about. That would be in Ward 1, actually.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard estimates of $100 million, $110 million to replace the police station. Is it worth it, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, everyone I've talked to at the police department says we need it. Okay. You know, they've said there's holding cells that we can't even use because we can't. It's so old we can't even fix the plumbing. It's not a matter of putting the money into fixing it. It's unfixable. There's parts of that building that are beyond repair. Apparently, I'm disturbed that it got that way. There seems to be this thing we do in government where we wait until the problem is so bad that there's only one way to fix it. We did it in Ward 1 with the Maritime Center.
Oh, right.
We waited until basically they had to condemn the building.
Yeah.
And now we have really very little choices on what we're going to do next because they've condemned the building. So they basically made it a fait accompli by taking away the Maritime Center. So now it's not they've taken the idea of rehabbing that building off the table.
Right.
Now maybe with a little more foresight, we could have saved money by keeping that building usable, or you know what I mean? What I don't like is the fait accompli part where we let things get so bad that the only choice is $100 million figure to build a new complex. Because that you have to ask yourself, did it have to go this way, or is this working out really great for some segments of the population who are going to, make a lot of money building for us.
Right.
But bottom line, we are where we are. Our police force and our schools are two of the things that I think make Quincy one of the best cities. So I want them to be supported. The police and fire departments and the schools do a fabulous job. And so if they need facilities, I want them to have it. But if I'm on city council, I'm going to try to be looking ahead of these things instead of waiting until we're at this point where there's really only one solution.
Okay. All right. Another, I know, a big concern of yours is, and of most people, is getting around the city. Is traffic, is congestion, is development, and how it all kind of works together. Is that a fait accompli too, just given the fact that the city is growing so quickly?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I think what you got to look where people are coming from. I mean, for some of the decision makers, the traffic doesn't really affect them. I mean, they just have to get a few blocks from a really nice street in Quincy to the city hall, and then if they can just survive the complaining, they're okay. So the people who are out there in the streets, getting stuck trying to get over the Neponsit, or waiting at North Quincy Station while 3 trains go by before they can get on, they're the people that suffer when we build too fast or we don't build smartly. As I said before, to me the answers are to use our T stations. We have 4 of them. Build around them to attract people who might be willing to forego their car. I don't believe the answer is to make the builders build more parking. I think when you build more parking, you're attracting more cars. And you're raising the cost of rent and mortgage because they can charge more with parking spots.
Sure.
So I think it was well-meaning. I can understand where they're coming from. Nobody likes their street to be filled with extra cars, that you can't get a spot on your street. But I think it was short-sighted. In the end, what we need to do is make the city more bikeable, make the city more walkable, take advantage of maybe eventually adding shuttles to get from apartment complexes to T stations. One thing, a silver lining of what happened at Wollaston is a lot of people took advantage of those shuttles going around the city.
Yes.
Even the ones who weren't getting on the T. They used it to go shopping.
Well, they were free.
They were free.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, know? So in the future, with some planning and foresight, a shuttle service that kind of goes around the city might be something we want to consider, because anything we can do to get people to drive less has lots of good dominoes falling. The environment, the traffic, the congestion, and the housing costs will go down because the builders don't have to build in all this extra parking and charge for it. So
okay, can Quincy learn something from even foreign cities that have done something similar?
Oh yeah, if we can avoid reinventing wheels all the time,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is not a new problem.
Right.
I mean, they've had congestion since ancient Rome or maybe beforehand. So yeah, absolutely, we should be looking, and I would hope that our traffic engineer, is it Mr. Cassini?
Casani.
Yeah, Casani.
Yep.
I hope he's doing that.
Right.
I mean, that would be one of the things, if I were in that position, I would be doing, is constantly looking. I would be looking at other cities in around this area, and I would be looking worldwide, like what's new. And that's what I mean by I want Quincy to lead again. If we have a good idea, we've done it. I mean, we were one of the first cities to embrace Narcan.
That's true.
And Narcan is now pretty much standard across the country, at least. We can do that kind of stuff in Quincy because we're a good level city. Like, it's hard for a city like New York to make a huge turn. It's like turning the Titanic. But Quincy can be a little more nimble. So I think we owe it to not just our citizens, but as a part of the worldwide community to try to fix these problems.
Sure. The mayor's talked a lot about banning plastic shopping bags, those single-use plastic shopping bags. I'm guessing you'd be in favor of that.
Well, I am in favor of that. As a matter of fact, it was one of the things on my 2017 platform.
Oh, okay.
I think the research has evolved since then. It doesn't mean it's a bad idea, but I'm always looking at, like, what are these bans doing, And I think overall it's a good idea. What I really want to do is encourage reusable bags.
Okay.
The ban is the ban. Everyone's going to walk into Stop and Shop on a lark without their bags and go, So I'm not saying a ban's the only way to go, but what I wanted to do was, they have those nice, have you tried them? The thicker plastic bags at Stop and Shop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've had the same thicker ones for 2 years now, and they're going strong. There's little holes here and there, but they're holding together.
All right.
Those were 10 cents each.
Yeah.
And actually during a blizzard, I wound up getting a whole handful because they ran out of the regular ones, and they were just giving us them.
Oh, is that right?
Great.
And they're waterproof.
Yeah. So, but what I was thinking the city could do, because when I say people should be switching them, I get reminded that even 10 cents to certain people it matters.
If you need 50 of them, then
yeah. But what I wanted to do was kind of make them free by selling advertisement on the bags.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking there's lots of local businesses, the same people you see on the placemats at Lucum Farms or Wheelhouse, who would throw their logo on a plastic bag. We could make them revenue neutral and just provide them as a service the city does, and if people don't have to buy them, the only thing people are going to miss about those plastic bags in the end is the dog situation.
A lot of people do use them for that.
But if we get down to just the dogs, I think we'll be in a better spot.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
Joe, what would you do if there were a plan for a recreational marijuana shop in Ward 1?
Well, we got to start removing certain stigmas. I would remind everyone that I think that initiative or that passed, I don't know, like 90%. Like, it was a very popular initiative.
Yes, it was, yeah.
So to turn around and say NIMBY here, not in my neighborhood, I think not in my backyard, is a little bit disingenuous.
Okay.
But what we need to do is we need partners in that industry who are going to be good neighbors. I'm sure at some point, maybe it was in the 1920s, people were suspect of packies and liquor stores popping up in the neighborhood. You can argue whether or not that's good or bad,
right.
But some of them are excellent citizens of the neighborhood. They give to Little League.
Yes.
They're a spot where you can get a bottle of water and without going very far if there's a blizzard. They give back. And so what I would want to do is make sure the partner we're seeing with the dispensary is somebody that will be a part of the neighborhood and not a scourge, and we've got to enforce regulations. We can't have people hanging about. And then use common sense. Do I want it next to Atherton Howell Elementary? No, of course not. But there's certain spots that aren't near schools. And with the tax, people got to remind you, if you're unhappy with property tax, one way to fix that is to have more commercial businesses. You know, so we need the commercial base to prevent your property taxes from going up. So I would try that, but I would listen. You know, that's the number one thing. You got to listen.
That was a key point of your talk before the preliminary too. Was being open and accessible. And you didn't feel, even as a Ward 1 resident yourself, that you're actually being heard as much as you'd like.
Yeah,
to
I
be.
say this all the time. The decisions are inflicted upon us. Not we're not involved in them. So although I would probably like support and try to talk through the issue to get like a dispensary if there was a good partner involved, you got to listen, you know. And I would then, if the opposition was that strong, I would then go back to the person who wants to open it and I would talk to them and say, do you really think this is the spot for you? The opposition here, you know, then they might, you know, and then work with them. So they might say, you know what, you're right, it's not worth upsetting a whole neighborhood here. You know, that's what I'm talking about, getting people's buy-in up front. Also, if you wind up going forward, now the neighbors felt heard. You know, they don't feel like this was just thrown at them. Now they had their piece said. Maybe we made some considerations for their worries. There's things you can do with bushes and like eye line, you know, and security. Like maybe they agree to have 24-hour security or whatever. Suddenly the citizens feel like, okay, we were a part of this, not this was inflicted on us.
Okay, all right. Have you done to any candidates nights since last we chatted?
There was one in Marymount. I think, yes, I did in Marymount. I'm a little disappointed. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up, Joe. I would love to have a candidates night for Ward 1 with me and Dave. Right now, that's not set up.
Okay.
And I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think what's happening here is the big draw is the at-large candidates.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So the library is having an at-large night.
Right.
There's another place. Oh, the Quincy Democratic Committee is having an at-large night.
I think QCAN is having a Quincy Climate Action Network.
Yeah, and that's for everybody. Okay. But the problem with those large ones is I don't know, we had one for Marymount. There was an at-large and school committee. And everyone got 5 minutes and no questions. Okay. That's useless. Okay. So what I think QATV, I think you've done these before. I would love it if you moderated a discussion between me and my opponent and let us, like, you know, it doesn't have to be a battle royal. You know, we're two well-meaning people that want the best for our ward.
Sure.
Just talk it out. But I think right now we're running into a problem where a lot of the places in Ward 1 where we can have these discussions are, like, we're already having a night. You know, like the library is like, we already have a night going. We don't want to do another one. But right now, Ward 1, one problem is we're very residential.
Yes.
So we don't have a lot of places to put this.
True. There's a couple of churches.
Churches, and they're, you know, not all, the accessibility is a little iffy on some of them. You know, the place we had one last time, there was a couple people that had, you know, the elevator happened to be out that night and they were just struggling. So we want to find a nice spot. But QATV is in Ward 1.
Yes, it is.
And so if you're interested, I think you make a good discussion.
I appreciate the compliment. That's above my pay grade, but I will certainly bring it up with the powers that be, no question.
All right. Tell me who to talk to.
At our next staff meeting, for sure.
All right, good. Yeah.
Anything else, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Tonight I'm having a fundraiser at Sala by Fratelli's.
Oh, sure.
It's a trivia night, too.
Okay.
All Joe's. I did the third person thing. All of my events, I try to make fun.
Yeah.
I don't want the boring, like, 20-minute mingling thing.
Okay.
So you can come for the 20-minute mingling thing if you want and leave.
All right.
Or you can stay for trivia night, where, you know, we usually have some Quincy trivia thrown in.
I was just going to ask what kind of trivia. Okay.
Yeah. It'll be general, but we always have a few Quincy questions thrown in.
Okay.
This is our second one.
Okay.
So it'll be tonight at Sala by Fratelli's from like 6:15 to 10.
Okay.
Like I said, free food. I'm sure Sala is going to provide us some of their signature desserts.
Oh, yeah.
A cheese board, a cash bar, and the trivia night's always a big hit.
Yep.
This is an internal event, but on the 19th, the 19th in the morning at O'Brien Towers, we're going to have piano and pancake breakfast. I'm a piano player, so I usually go into O'Brien and some of the other residences here, and I play a little piano for entertainment while everyone's eating, and then I address the crowd So we'll be doing that on the 19th at O'Brien. So if anyone's listening in Germantown, especially if you're in O'Brien, I'm not really sure what the policy is for walking in.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay.
So I would assume you can't, but maybe you can. But definitely if you're at O'Brien, come on down on the 19th. Have some pancakes and listen to me play piano.
Okay.
Every Wednesday evening, my crew does standouts. You can find out where at votejoemurphy.com/standouts.
Okay.
So get involved. Come hold a sign for me. And there'll be other ones thrown in there too, but every Wednesday night's the regular one. And right now, that's all I have as far as events, but there's probably going to be some more stuff thrown in between now and then. So go to votejoemurphy.com and keep up with us, or visit me at Facebook at Vote Joe Murphy.
Okay. Very good. And you're invited back here November 5th for our live coverage that evening, Joe. We'd love to see you again.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for stopping by this morning. Good to see you.
No problem. Good to see you.
You're welcome.